Okay, House of Payne fans, House of Probation. I have mixed feelings about it. It wasn't like a horrible episode, but some of the logic really didn't land for me in terms of how things winded down in the closing minutes of the episode. But I give it I want to give it a 6 out of 10, above, the halfway point of a 5, but this is mainly due to my own confusion. Let me put it this way. I'm going to put this review out there, and of course, after you all listen to my thoughts on it, perhaps you can give me some insight. I'll go into detail about where I feel the episode kind of fell flat for me, because, I don't know, it just felt like things kind of hastily wrapped up. If you hear any ding, ding, ding in the background, that's my dryer going off. But, yeah, so season 14, episode 8. If you could, make sure you take a moment to like and subscribe. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. And hit that bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content on the channel. Now, I'll talk about the B plot first. And there's only one or two scenes of the Payne and Glow barbecue. So over at CJ and Janine's, we have Glow, Curtis, Malik, Jasmine, and Janine all discussing the strategy for the, okay, let's squash these rumors and allegations of being bad neighbors and Glow not being a competent HOA president. So, I did like it. I mean, this was a great B plot that didn't eat up too much episode time, and it didn't overstay its welcome as far as I'm concerned. And I love, similar to last week where you had Malik and his parents getting ready to go about their workday, you had everybody playing an active role here. It's like, okay, we need to course correct these false neighbor allegations that Mrs. Wellington has been spreading with her flyers. So what we need to do is counter that with our own flyers. And Malik's going to do an email blast. And Jasmine's like, you know what? I'm going to go around door to door and just put these flyers wherever I can find them the same way Wellington put up hers. And Glow is like, you know what? Let me try to find a gift or swag bag thing to promote the barbecue events. So CJ helps out Curtis with the barbecue. And I just love it. It's a plan and they're putting it into action. Now, we do go over to Curtis and Ella's backyard, and Glow's out there with the swag bags, and we have 2 or 3 occasions where we have, a couple of, hey, here are some neighbors. We've been your neighbors for 5 years, or hey, we live up the street, and Jazz was back there helping as well. So it's just good to see that everybody is meeting, the Paynes and saying oh, Glow, you got our support. So this was good. It was short, sweet, to the point. Now, to me, this just further indicates how in the know Glow is trying to be compared to Wellington, because they said Wellington has an air about her where she's kind of a better than everyone else, or at least she thinks she is, and she really doesn't know her neighbors. And this was illustrated a couple episodes ago when she went to CJ and Janine's house and, was talking up herself, Dog, and Glow, not knowing she was talking to, quote unquote, the enemy. Yeah, we're the family you were, posting about on your flyers. Ooh. But yeah, Glow was trying to make herself known, and, there's that. Oh yeah, somebody did point out in the comments a couple weeks ago, hey, Jeremy, when you go back to when Glow was first introduced, she was kind of like Wellington herself. Didn't know much about the Paynes. Immediately, was cracking down the rule book on Curtis and whatnot. So, yeah, but Glow did come around. Okay, now, everything else pertaining to the episode has to do with Junior. And the episode started out like I thought, based off the sneak peek, where, what's her name? Was it Mrs. Morgan came over to the condo to speak with the parents, Calvin and Laura, that is. And she mentions the whole thing about, and I'm kind of going to gloss over the first part because the sneak peek, I talked about it. And it turns out my prediction as to why Junior is on academic and disciplinary probation, it was wrong. But the reasoning just didn't make sense to me. All right, so the only real thing we learn from this particular scene is the fact that, the private slash boarding school that both Christian and Junior attend, apparently they skipped over the wait list due to Laura's parents having, their name having weight with that school, whether it be because they were donors, former students themselves, or something to that nature. So, yeah, that's news to me. Laura's parents actually played a role in getting Calvin's sons into a higher learning situation. That's interesting, because if you remember a couple seasons ago, wasn't it a debate between Miranda and Calvin about Christian's education where and please forgive me if I'm wrong, because I review all these episodes, but sometimes I forget. But I believe the episode centered around Miranda excited that Christian had an opportunity to interview for this like private school or something, but Calvin wanted his son to have exposure to black teachers and whatnot, so he wanted him to remain in public school. And I remember in my review saying that I get the need for, especially black kids to be exposed to, educators of similar backgrounds to them. But in the real world, there rarely is a situation where you have a lot of black superiors. By that I mean like your bosses, supervisors, college professors and whatnot. Obviously, if you go to an HBCU or something, but in reality, and look, I mean, I'm only speaking from my experience growing in, public school and then going to a private university. I could literally count on one hand the number of black teachers I had from pre-K to 12th grade. And I remember in that review stating that Miranda is trying to give their son the best education ever. And I mean, I was siding with her. But I believe by the end of the episode, she agreed to let Calvin's decision reign that, I wanted what was best for Christian's education. But yeah, it is important for him to have, educators and whatnot who look like him. And I'm like, So I'm wondering in this new school how the conversation went, to convince Calvin to get Junior and Christian in there. Because is this the same school that Miranda was trying to get Christian in before? Or is this a whole different school? Are there black educators? Or I don't know. And the reason I went on that little tangent is because I look at continuity. So, in any case, we also learned Calvin has primary custody of Junior. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting because I get that Tracy went to Texas with her boyfriend, but I thought that both she and Calvin had custody. It's just that Junior spent far more time with his mom, but would only come over to his dad when he needed to be disciplined, and due to his attitude problem, because what was it, that one season finale when it was revealed that one episode, he threw some keys and hit his mom in the face, that he needed to stay with his dad for a while to get his temper in check. So now he has primary custody? I don't know. There's a lot of little details in this first scene that I had to take a moment and go, wait, what? Now, turns out on Christian's end, he's doing great. And, Calvin wants both his sons to do well. And he scoffs at the idea of counseling until Laura's like, we'll look at all options. Now, from there, Miss Morgan says that, if Calvin is able to, if Junior is able to turn things around, he will be admitted into school, in the next term. And he's not suspended or anything. It's just that we want to get our students back on track, to ensure they're able to, move forward. But Calvin didn't see the email or didn't open it to see that his son was on both forms of probation. And also, the school does something interesting where the student doesn't know they're on probation until the parents tell them, because, the teachers and administrators will contact the parent or parents first, and then they'll discuss it with their kids later. So Junior and Christian get home from school, as Mrs. Morgan leaves. And yeah, so that was pretty interesting. So we move forward to, I believe, like the next day. Calvin is MIA. Well, he's actually at a work seminar and he's going to be, out of the picture for the day. So Christian actually comes over to the condo and Laura greets him. And he's upset because he doesn't know where his brother is. But the thing is, he mentions that his mom is downstairs and wants to talk to Laura about Christian. And Laura's like, yeah, it's okay. Tell her to come up. So Miranda asks if she can come in, and she does. And Christian goes to the back room, and this has to do with Junior. So it's a cordial conversation, and okay. So essentially, here's what happened. And Miranda was calling Calvin, but he didn't answer. And Laura explains that it's because he's at a work seminar. So Miranda calls Tracy, who came over to the school to pick Junior up. So is Tracy back in town now? Did her and the boyfriend break up? Did she, I don't know, was she also informed about his probations and that's why she's back for a little while? I don't really know what's going on. It's like you can't have her move to Texas in one episode and then randomly have her back in proximity where she can just come to the school and pick her up. Pick up her son. I highly doubt she flew all the way from Texas to ATL in order to get Junior. Like, this doesn't make sense. But turns out Junior this time was suspended due to a pretty bad fight where the other kid's lip was busted up pretty bad. And she thanks Laura for letting her come back up. Now, this is when they have a talk. And Miranda wants to bury the hatchet and mentions how we need to communicate in order to effectively co-parent. And to be completely honest, I kind of sided more with Laura than Miranda. Now, let me explain. So, Laura honestly and respectfully talks to Miranda about how the issue is how you pop up all the time. And, since I live here now with my soon to be husband, you popping up like that is, well, disrespectful. And Miranda retorts like, I only come over here when my child is over here, or if someone in this home calls me because they need me for something. That is not true. Then Laura just says, well, if you could just please keep in mind that whenever you do pop up like that, it's not really respectful to me. And she quickly says, like, look, I'm just saying that we need to be responsible examples for the sake of the boys. And from now on, if you want, I'll just wait in the car whenever I drop off or pick up Christian or Junior. And Laura says, no, it's okay. You can come up if it has to do with the boys and you could talk to me about them. Or if you need to come see Calvin, come on up. And then that was pretty much it. So I just wanted to go back to when Laura just said, and look, I can't believe it. There was no yelling. There was no Laura getting up and storming out or kicking Miranda out. She just simply stated, hey, whenever you come over unannounced like that, it's low-key disrespectful. And don't you see how I would be disrespected? And Miranda quickly just claps back about, well, I'm just trying to be a responsible example. No, that to me felt like she was dismissing how Laura felt. Now, yeah, she said like, well, if it will make you feel any better, I'll wait in the car. And it's like, no. But it just really did feel like Miranda wasn't truly taking into consideration how Laura was felt or what she was saying. And also, I just had to scoff at her mentioning that I only come over here when my son is over here, or if somebody at the play, aka Calvin, calls me because they want me over. That is a lie. I mean, I think about when I don't know, for all we know, she still has the key. Like, there was a whole episode surrounding Laura telling Calvin Miranda should no longer have a spare. And then she gave it back. But then she would sometimes just randomly pop up and come in the door I guess we're just to assume the front door is always unlocked because, it's TV logic or whatnot. But no, there have been times where she just busts in out of nowhere. I think the most egregious example was the episode where we finally met, and also Calvin finally met Laura's parents, and they were having dinner. And Miranda just stormed in there. Now, she did say that Junior needed either, what was it, his computer for a project. Hey, he left his laptop, or Christian or somebody needed like their goggles for swim practice. It was something going on. But either way, she just came up in there, interrupted, and then left. So Laura does make some good points there that I don't feel Miranda took into consideration. So then Calvin shows up and he says that, hey, I'll get Junior after Tracy's done, speaking with him. And he's shocked that the ladies had a cordial conversation and Miranda and Christian leave. Now, after this, Calvin goes to see his mom and mentions how, man, I'm trying to help Junior. I've been doing everything, taking away his phone and games, just having talks with him and this, that, and the third. And I like how when he mentions counseling, Ella's like, well, why don't you do it? Well, come on. Like, you and Dad never had to take me to counseling. So what? Try all your options. It sounds to me like you're doing everything you can, but just let him go to counseling. And when all else fails, you need to pray too, son. And I like that. Ella had a small but big presence in the episode. So then here's what we learn. Miranda comes back up to the condo again to talk, about, Junior. So it turns out Christian is with Ella and Curtis at the moment. But yeah, so Christian was being bullied at school and Junior stepped up, and that's what happened. Like, he hasn't been acting out just to act out, but he took the fall because essentially Christian told his big brother about being bullied. And Miranda explained it, but I don't understand. Now, let me put it this way. I completely understand that we have a child and a teenager handling a situation. So their thinking logic isn't always going to be completely logical. I guess Christian figured, or Junior figured that, oh wait, Christian didn't tell Dad about getting bullied and he told me, and maybe Christian would get in trouble because I handled it for him. Because I bet, the folks would be like, oh, Christian, why didn't you say anything? And this, that, and the third. So they already think, I already have the bad kid label. I didn't want Christian to deal with the same thing, so I'm going to go ahead and handle it. So he beat up the boy making fun of his brother. That makes no sense. So at the end of the episode, Calvin prays and Junior comes out and asks what his dad's doing. And he's like, oh, nothing, son. Then they hug and that's it. Yeah, this resolution made no sense because here's the thing. Mrs. Morgan mentioned how he's disrespectful to teachers and students. Now, in terms of students, we can just say, okay, perhaps he was stepping up to the punks that were, teasing or bullying his little brother. Okay, makes sense. But how would protecting Christian from the other students lead to Junior disrespecting his teachers? And also, what in the world does him stepping up for his brother have to do with his academics? He's on academic probation as well. This doesn't really add up. And then on top of that, the negligence of Calvin, to go from, yeah, I'm a great dad to, what, my son's on double probation? I didn't read the email. Now, granted, maybe the email came the same day Morgan was supposed to come over. I'm guessing that's how it went. And if Calvin just so happened to not check his inbox that afternoon or something before she popped up, okay, I get it. But, I don't know. The fact that Mrs. Morgan said, wait, did you not get the email? This is probably one of those things where I'm guessing the email. And look, there's a lot of speculation on my part. All right. So I don't know everything unless it's fully revealed to us in a future episode. But I'm assuming, teachers or whoever or the administrators, they would inform the parents of, hey, your child is on probation. We're going to come by such and such a time to discuss, what's going on. So now it's like, dang, Calvin, you really didn't know what your son was up to? And like I said before, I'm not going to be too hard on Christian and Junior's logic because they aren't adults. But yeah, no. And like I said, the whole Tracy thing, her randomly being in town, like I said, is this for a visit or is she moved back? I don't know. So the other thing is, well, I already talked about the Laura and Miranda stuff. And while it's good to see them on the same page, the drama isn't over, folks. We still need Ella and Laura to have that real talk and get to the bottom of what's going on. But I want to be completely honest. I've reached a point where I don't even think Laura is ever going to fully learn Ella's true feelings towards her, because the thing is, Laura was talking to Miranda about the popping up being disrespectful. But at the core, they never really got to the real issue of it. And that's the fact that Laura feels that Miranda is the biggest obstacle towards her having a relationship with the Paynes. And that's the fact that she's, okay, you're popping up over here, but you're also over at, Miss Ella's house. And yeah, I can't control who goes in and out at, Ella and Curtis's home. But you got to realize, like, all the time you're spending with Ella is preventing me from getting to know her. Now, you could be mad at Miranda, but, I guess you could say that Laura heard, being upset should really be directed towards Ella, because for as much as people want to blame Calvin for not setting boundaries and whatnot, he's tried multiple times with his mom to stop letting Miranda come over all the time, but Ella made it clear she's going to do what she wants. So it's really Ella who needs to kind of step up and be like, you know what, Miranda? I'm not saying you're gone from my life completely, but all these plans and whatnot, all the times we spend together, I need to kind of, cool it down just a bit and make sure I'm spending quality time trying to get to know the woman who's about to be my future, daughter-in-law. So I don't think that's ever been addressed, or it will be addressed. But hey, stranger things have happened. Only time will tell. I'm not against conflict resolution. I'm against having these storylines where drama ensues for weeks on end, if not seasons, and then it's just randomly solved in one conversation that just feels incredibly forced. But hey, that's just my 2 cents. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Oh yeah, and side note, I did read the comments on my sneak peek video, the one about Miss Morgan coming over to the condo last night before the episode aired. For those asking, yeah, Revival was great. Night 3 was great. We had 3 nights of just one amazing sermon after another. The visiting choirs were excellent. And it feels good, that it's over in terms of, okay, now I don't have to, shut out the rest of my evening because, go to church for a couple hours. No, we had a good time this Sunday church as well. My nephew, he got saved and he's going to get baptized, I think, next month. So that's cool. But, aside from that, that's pretty much all that's going on. I'm allowing myself to catch up on other stuff. Oh yeah, for the Beyond the Gates fans, this week I'm not going to, fall behind too much. I know technically I'm 2 episodes behind. I want to get those reviews out, but to be completely honest, this week hasn't really been hitting. The Ashley stuff has been eating up too much screen time, and it's a whole bunch of nothing. And yeah, but I'll get those, Tuesday and Wednesday's reviews. I'll try to get those up by today. And I'm finally putting together the new shelves I have for my office, so that's good. So I can get this place spruced up. But also the live stream I did a couple days ago, people were telling me that share screen I did where I had the article and I had myself in the corner turned out pretty good. And that's great because I might start doing that more in the future. But aside from that, no further word on the allegations thing. I'm not saying that it's completely cooled down, but I'm pretty sure we'll get an update on it sooner or later. But for now, I'm thinking that the Tyler Perry content is still going to churn out on these channels and streaming services, and I will keep reviewing them for as long as they are available. So, With that being said, let me know your thoughts on House of Payne episode 8, House of Probation. Look out for a synopsis breakdown as soon as I get my hands on it for next week's episode 9. So take care, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.